So without further ado, typically how we start our meetings is we will share an office update from the Delaware County's Office of Sustainability, so the staff piece of county sustainability, and then we'll open it up for any subcommittee updates before moving into other office visits. So to kick off our update today, I'm happy to pass it over to my colleague, Olivia, who's going to share just a couple of the projects she's been working on in our department to get started. So, see you on Sam. Okay. Hello, everyone. I just want to keep it brief so we can get on to the cool stuff. I'll just get past this for now, and then that's all right. Yep. All right. So for our first project, we as a county have been working on standardizing our recycling practices across our county facilities. And we are also doing a waste audit included in that project. We have decided that the best way to go about consolidating all of the information we have to date is to create one report that has all of the information accessible to those who need it to proceed forward. And those that have expressed interest via our survey and helping develop our waste audit methodology will be reached out to shortly. So thank you everyone for your interest on that. And for our EAC Hub, this project was announced in our September Sustainability Commission meeting. Thank you everyone for the overwhelming support on that. We received a lot of messages just being very excited about the project. So thank you everyone for that. So the purpose of the project, just as a short recap for anyone that wasn't there, is to serve as a repository of information on local government sustainability. The aim being to facilitate the work of environmental committees such as EACs, shade tree commissions, conservation commissions, municipal staff, and more. And the type of resources that will be on this hub will be model ordinances and resolutions, educational materials, geospatial maps, and more. The current stage of the project is working on, or we're working on this project and developing the interactive hub aspect with the county GIS team right now. It's been a great help and it's really exciting. And then coming soon, we will have a survey that will be distributed to municipal staff, EACs, and shade tree commissions to collect information and resources to support the launch of the hub. And that is to come, but if anyone has any questions or would like more information, please reach out to my email, which is on these slides. Well, it's a So thank you, Olivia. And then the only other two things we just wanted to share are two upcoming events for welcome to members of the public, as well as anyone in our community. So each election following election day, the Friday and Saturday, we do campaign sign recycling, and that's out of Rose Tree Park. But it is worth noting, all community signs are welcome. So if you have a yard sale sign, or if your local school did a fundraiser, any kind of yard signs can be collected and recycled at this event. And we always like to advertise this as they are not able to be recycled at normal curbside. So this is your opportunity each year. The other thing I wanted to bring up is we are currently participating in a fall snapshot with the Straub Water Research Center out of Avondale, Pennsylvania, in which case they are studying the base flow conditions for salinity in our creeks. So essentially what that means is they're looking at the long-term impact of road salt to see, are we seeing those lasting impacts months after the fact? This event goes from October 1st through the 15th. And I wanted to bring this up, especially being in Ridley today, as we still have a lot of opportunities and spots where we are looking for folks to help collect. So all of these red spots that you're seeing here on the screen still need volunteers. And what that essentially entails is just going out to the local creek with a water bottle, collecting a sample, and then dropping it off at one of the many drop-off locations which are designated with stars here today. So would love to have you all participate. Alrighty. So now that that is complete, I did want to pass it over to our commission member, Mike Schneller, for an energy update, if you have one, for the energy subcommittee, before we get into our formal reorganization.
Hello, my name is Mike Schneller. I'm the Delco Sustainability Commission, as well as I would be called an energy expert for PCAL, I guess. We did not meet this last week. I was busy trying to make the rest of the territory more efficient. So this is not really a chance to meet, but something was mentioned in the minutes about a stretch code for municipalities and other ones. Back up a little bit. Went to a conference, a regional conference about efficiency in New Jersey, New York, New Jersey, and Pennsylvania. And then one of the speakers suggested or has said that certain municipalities and counties have stretched the building code to make it more efficient and bring it up to like international building code, which is a lot stricter than like we can have here. But beneficial for the buyers. On Euro spending and house considerably being something better on electric and research. So I'm going to investigate that more, and that's a huge task. I cannot even get to how the commissioners to agree to that and voting departments to agree to that. But an example would be, well, this is a little extreme example, but New York State, if you're building new construction, needs to put a fossil meeting system. It has to be or GFM, the mods in the pump. We have the all electric water heat pumps. And heat pumps are very sophisticated now, so it's really not a threat on consumer, but it doesn't make a huge difference in the greenhouse gas emissions. And to generate electricity needs a lot easier to control your emissions than burning it low enough to opening or natural gas. But that's one of the keys. I did complete we're trying to update the energy efficiency portion of the website. Trying to put together some data in certain things. I just we're just about done. Just need that incorporate the links that they've kind of given me for the industrial portion of it and municipality portion of it. They need to kind of get a part of the but other links. And it's got the reference point for commercial buildings, apartment buildings, municipalities, within like entities to figure out a way to use less energy. Really, that's what it's about. And then there's another page, which is Mike and you see mentioned pointer. You see, the first thing is to give them EPL anything on. Guess that's what it's now. I listen. But it is in any kind of energy assessment case that the first place to start. Well, it doesn't just come from Pico or me. That's like part of the energy and when subsidies sponsoring these mentioned beyond me. But that's when you start efficiency is being. As a side note, that's really my report. As a side note, that I didn't come around and watch the Black American sleep. It comes to how it's in
Project
Run was, and one of the first things on there is efficiency, and it's like, of course it is, so that was a good. But it's very interesting. It's going to be as they still many. These instances dissertations about thinking this how effective it's a website that describes how effective or how viable efficiency and some renewables, some different things, solar in particular, all these different things, water treating, and then those straight album and how economically viable it is, and also how much it actually uses. They use words like sometimes greenwashing, where it looks good, I mean, nothing but it's going now that actually promotes positively. Simply, so. I mean, we can mean lots of positive feelings. I mean, not both, but it can happen. So, anyway, that's all I know. Thank you for listening.
Awesome. Thank you. And that does bring us to the point in our agenda as well, just as a reminder. So public comment is welcome throughout today's meeting. We do have certain kind of sections branched out, but because we are here in person and it's a little bit easier and more fluid than it would be over Zoom, please feel free to just raise your hand. And if you wouldn't mind just introducing yourself before your comment so we know kind of the context or where you're coming from, that would be greatly appreciated. So before we really dive in, does anyone have questions or comments?
Yeah, I'm Skip Schmidt, Transition Town Greater Media. And I just wanted to note that on November 2nd at 7 p.m. in the Media Room, Parlor Room, we're going to have an energy workshop on how to save energy in your home and also to talk about the importance of trying to reduce our overall energy use as a society. So I think we're going to have a little film in there, and Bill Coleman, who's got a lot of work on energy remediation, will be presenter. So November 2nd, I think it's Sunday night, 7 p.m. Everybody's welcome. Rico Center.
Awesome. You said that was in the media parlor room?
It's in Parliament.
Awesome. Thank you.
Jackson's good.
Awesome. Anybody else have comments? All right. So thank you so much. For the next portion of our agenda, we are just going to run through our reorg very quickly. And then we will shift over to the much awaited tree canopy study, which most folks are probably here for today. So to kick off, we will start with a roll call, and to our members of the commission, if you wouldn't just mind saying who you are and what kind of role you fill, as well as your town. So I'll start off with Dave.
Dave Ozer, I'm from Delaware County Solid Waste Authority. I'm general manager for the authority. Named to that location over the last 2 months, but I've been with the authority for a long.
Peter Byrne, I'm the director of planning for the Community and board of London. Susan Falkio, I'm assistant director of sustainability finance in the county sustainability office.
I'm Olivia Swanson. I'm assistant sorry. I'm saying it. Wow. I'm taking that off. Sustainability coordinator. That sounds about right. And that's sustainability. Michelle Wheeler, permitting manager at Delaware County and Conservation District.
So
Mike feels on me off not being in our side ass.
that's the
What a great process. I'm Julie Credit. I have the planning from Molly Berry and on this sustainability commission as never been John with Lockers.
that was the making like. I'm Justin Tipples. I live in Chester, and I serve as special assistant in Medford in Chester. David Director. So I'm a public member of the state corporation. I live in Media Borough, and it's my job as Westers.
And I'm Jacqueline Rose. I live in Norwood, and I'm also a public member. And I firmly fight for the role in EAC Jacqueline.
And not to put you on the spot, we're doing introductions of the commission.
Okay, so I'm for the friends of the power staff at the Dawn.
Thank you. So now to roll through just the annual reorganization. Again, as a board with both members of the public and members of the government, we do split roles and leadership in this commission, so it is evenly based. So to start off, before I hand over to our new public chair, I wanted to ask for a motion to appoint or a nomination, I'll say, for our chair.
Are we talking about public chair?
Public chair.
Public chair.
David.
I nominate Jacqueline.
All right. You have a nomination. Do we have a second?
I'll second.
More a second. All those in favor state so by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
Oh, I can't put this sound for you.
Abstain. You're not backing down. All righty. Motion carried. Do you want me to plow through these?
If you want to do the appointment, sure.
Okay. Well, you have to do that.
So I'll nominate that as the governance side, so chair. Very good. A second.
Second.
All right, it's fighting for second.
All those in favor?
Aye. Abstentions? Great. Good. Yeah. Thank you. All right, we'll ask for a nomination for vice chair. David.
Well, I'm not licensed. Doesn't look weird, but okay. David, Mike second. All those in favor state so by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? You're not allowed to be opposed, David. Motion carried. Alrighty. And then I will make a motion to nominate Mike Fuller, who is not here yet, who's battling traffic, to serve as our secretary. Do we have a second? David, all those in favor state so by saying aye.
Aye.
He's not here to be opposed. So motion carried.
Awesome.
Thank you. And then the next portion for appointments is, as half of our members are county staff and folks often get pulled in different directions, there was a bylaw amendment last year in which each department is allowed to accept or have an alternate in case the director is not able to attend. So for planning, Ron will be returning as the alternate. Commerce, we are awaiting a second, and it's worth noting they have changed their name to the Delaware County Economic Development Corporation. Correct? Right on. Facilities, they're currently awaiting new leadership. So Danielle Floyd will be serving until an alternate is appointed. Parks and Rec, we have Beth Chapman. DCSW is Dave. Conservation District is Michelle, in case Karen Wilwall is not here. And then Sue is alternate for sustainable.
Nine. Well, but she's
So you're not allowed back off either. So if we could just have a motion to appoint departmental alternates.
I'll make the
Okay, Jacqueline made motion. Do we have a second?
yeah.
David second. All those in favor state so by saying aye.
Aye.
Anybody opposed? Not sitting. All right, motion carried. Sorry, we are speed rolling through. So thank all of our members of the public for holding with us. The last key item we have during our reorganization is adopting the meeting calendar for the following year. We did do a survey in between meetings with our members that showed overwhelmingly folks would still prefer to do 4 p.m. on a Thursday. We did check all of the dates. This will be the second Thursday of the month, and we are lucky to not hit any holidays this year. So if we could have a motion to adopt the 2026 meeting calendar. David made a motion.
Calendar.
Do we have a second?
I'll second.
Julie said. All those in favor state so by saying aye.
Aye.
Anybody opposed? All right, motion carried. So the last item we have is the approval of September minutes, which I am happy to pull up for anybody that is interested. Otherwise, we do have a hard copy in the back. Actually, I cannot pull it up because I forgot this is not my laptop. Minutes were sent out previous to the meeting. And again, there are some paper copies floating around if anybody would like to review. If everyone has had a chance to review, we would just need a motion.
Working it up. Just to make sure.
Okay, David made a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
Michael second. All those in favor state so by saying aye. Anybody opposed? All right, motion carried. And thank you to our members of the public for sitting through our business. And before we do head into our tree canopy presentation, I did want to introduce 2 other members who have come in since. I'll call out Anne in the back first. If you want to come on up, feel free to join our semicircle. And then do you want to introduce who you are?
Hello, I'm Ann Stoffer, Interim Director of Parks and Recreation.
It's so
And then we also have Mike.
Wow.
And what role do you fill, Mike?
I'm existing in the state.
And then EJ rep. So a member from a community that has is represented as an EJ community. So Lansdowne.
Don't worry, Mike, I almost forgot what I did too.
Thanks, Jack.
All right. So before, as I'm pulling up tree canopy, does anybody have questions or comments?
Don't be shy.
Oh, and I need to actually redo this. So sorry, I put the wrong PowerPoint on this when we switched.
We don't see him.
Some Okay. So, thank you guys again, so much for coming today. So during each meeting, we'll attempt to do typically a presentation, of either applicable projects that have occurred or items for discussion, anything that may be up to band on this side.
And that, get you back on what
I need that.
trying to get the,
Oh, there you go.
I think where it's going to get.
Wonderful. So today I'm thrilled to share with you the tree canopy assessment for Delaware County and some background on this project for those who may not be familiar. This is a project that was identified in the 2023 Sustainability Plan, and it was actually a project that was awarded funding through the Local Share Account Grant through Pennsylvania, through the Commonwealth Financing Authority. So this was fully grant funded, and was just released. This is our first public debut. So following today's meeting, it is available on our website, and there's a QR code in the back if you want to go straight to the website. So as to kick off first, it's important to kind of level set of what are we talking about when we are talking about tree canopy. And tree canopy is defined as the layer of leaves, branches, and stems that provide tree cover on the ground when viewed from above. So really a bird's eye view looking down. Anything that you're seeing is considered tree canopy. So for this study, what we were really looking at and hoping for was to have an in-depth analysis and historical record of Delaware County's tree canopy, because up until now, we could make broad assumptions about what we were seeing in our canopy, but we didn't really have that strong data to support what's actually happening on the ground. So in pursuing this study, we had asked for a land cover analysis, which we'll get into a little bit later, as well as high-level geospatial data, so actual data showing us what's happening. And we wanted to see it over time. So in looking at this study, the time frame that was available for data was 2010 to 2022. And we had also requested that we have this data at multiple scales. So our community members, our EACs, our tree commissions have the ability to look at it for their snapshot of a municipality and even lower if possible. So we were able to get data at a census tract and block group level, which really gets it as low as possible. So to start off this process, one of the first things our consultants did, and it's worth noting, we used the University of Vermont as well as Save a Tree Consulting Group to complete this study on our behalf. So the first thing they did was a land cover analysis. And what this really does is it's taking high resolution land cover data, which is generated from something called LiDAR, where essentially planes fly over and they shoot a radar down, and as it sends the signal back, it's providing additional information of kind of the land cover, and it's a different way of mapping via radar. So this form really was the foundation for this project, that allowed them to have better characteristics for the Delaware County landscape in general, and really get down into defining what our tree canopy looks like. It's worth noting that the data for this study, how it compares to normal like national tree databases, is that a tree canopy data set on a national level is typically at a resolution of 30 meters, as where this is 1,000 times more dialed in. So very specific data. So another component that they looked at here as well is aerial imagery to level set against what the radar was showing. So compared to, this is a just flyover picture of portion of Delaware County. This is what that LiDAR data would look like. And it really served to categorize our land uses and parcels into different use types. So this might be a little tiny here on the screen, but everything you see in green is perceived tree canopy. The light yellow is grass or shrubs. Brown is bare soil. Blue is water. Red, buildings. The black is roads. And gray is other paved surfaces. So this land cover data, which was provided for the entire county, served as the foundation for this study. After they had this categorization of land cover, they broke it down a step further and wanted to categorize as what is potentially tree canopy and what is overtly not. So they broke down those into 4 further categories. First, which is existing tree canopy, possible vegetated tree canopy, which is either grass or shrubs that could have tree canopy. The next is impervious tree canopy, which is areas that are currently asphalt or concrete, including roads or businesses that theoretically could be available for the establishment of tree canopy, but with their existing use is not there currently. And then lastly are those areas that are 100% not suitable. It's where buildings or roads are primarily. So it's those areas where those aren't going to come down for new tree canopy in the future. In doing this analysis, they broke it down by all 49 municipalities, and it's worth noting that all of this is in the study that's available on our website, so you are welcome to see it. To break down the level of, within those communities, how is their land area being broken down? Is it tree canopy? Is it that passable impervious? Is it vegetated? Or is it 100% not suitable for tree canopy in the future? And we see here that across our 49 towns, there are varying levels across this spectrum of possibility for tree canopy. Overall, looking at the county, what was found in doing this analysis was we have 117,000 acres of land in Delaware County. Approximately 43% is classified as existing tree canopy. 30% is that possible vegetation where it's showing either grass or shrub. About 12% is that possible impervious where it would really take a lot of pulling out existing concrete and items like that. And then 14% is 100% not. 14% is not suitable in that it's existing buildings or roadways. So with this kind of land cover data, they then started to dive a bit deeper into the trees themselves. And data, it's important to note that data is provided throughout this study. They gave it to us in 4 different ways, which allows each community group or organization to really pull the data in a way that they need. So this is looking at our tree canopy layer that was created through this analysis. But the 4 different ways they provide it. So in the top left, we see it by hexagon. So what this is it essentially removes any governmental barrier in our heads. It doesn't have towns. It broke even sections of acres. And what does the dispersion look like without those geographic boundaries? Next in the top right, they broke it down by municipality. In the bottom left is by census tract. And then in the bottom right, which is our most detailed, is by that census block grade. So almost at a neighborhood level in which we are able to see our tree canopy data. It's worth noting, in addition to tree canopy information, they also gave us mapping and data for vegetation as well. So not just those specific trees, but where are we seeing vegetation as well? And it's worth noting again, all data and maps you're going to see today, they provided across those 4 layers. So any way you want to see it or use it in the future is available. In doing this mapping, they were also able to use computer modeling to identify what they were calling tree centroids. And what this really is identifying individual trees based on the imagery and LiDAR data. And in doing this analysis for Delaware County, they found that we have over 1.6 million individual trees in our canopy across the county. So this really allows us to have that touch point of not only seeing where are we seeing growth in canopy, meaning we're seeing those trees mature, but are we actually seeing more trees or less trees over time as well. This analysis also was able to do a tree height distribution, and this really helps show the age of the canopy we're seeing. Again, helps to contribute. Are we seeing trees are just getting older? Are we seeing new trees added? Are we seeing these large old growth trees, or are we seeing mostly new street trees that were just thrown in by a developer? Really helping us kind of break down what's going on with our canopy. And then to break it down one step further in looking at our tree canopy, this study also was able to provide something called a forest patch size. So this was looking at recognizing that larger areas of wooded property have more benefit to our wildlife and to our natural ecosystems. So in looking at this study across the full county, they were able to show that most of the patches we have here are small patches. And I believe the study marks that as smaller than an acre. So we're really, while we have a robust tree canopy with lots of trees, we're seeing that it's not those large forests that give us that diversity for wildlife and different species. So that was just on the tree canopy layer. This study dives into much more than that as well. One of the things that this study was able to do is also looking at the dispersion of our trees and overlaying that with some of our demographic data in the county. The map you're seeing here is showing an overlap of non-white population with the existing tree canopy data. So areas where you're seeing that very dark blue, you're seeing that they have a high existing tree canopy data, as well as a high non-white population. Areas where you are seeing white on the full contrast are areas that have low existing tree canopy and low non-white population. And this analysis starts to help paint a picture of the equity of our tree canopy and where we're seeing our green spaces across the county. Yeah. Yeah. With arts extension. Yes. I'm sorry. My colors are failing. Well, basically, I'm listening to me. Yes. I like it. Thank you. And they also did this analysis for income to tree canopy ratio as well. So seeing where those two overlap. So we're seeing that our areas with the highest income and highest trees are typically in the western part of the county, where on our riverfront, we're seeing the opposite. In addition to this data, and I'm just giving a taste, hopefully, so you know where to find it. They also provided some mapping to show some of the benefits of tree canopy. So they did a form of heat mapping to show where are we having heat islands, as well as a runoff retention, which can help point to flooding. So after they collected all of those data layers. Then came in the time component of what are we really seeing from 2010 to 2022? What's the situation, or what are we seeing here in Delaware County? And in addition to just the large county maps, they also did some aerial comparisons to really dive down into specific areas to see the difference. So we're going to look at an example from Fallcraft. So this is just your basic Google Maps background. Then they compared the imagery from 2010 on the left and imagery on 2022 on the right. They then used their LiDAR data to show what are the signatures we're seeing different and mapped it as no change, gain, or loss. And it's important to note that loss or gain is not always the addition or subtraction of an entire tree. Gain can also be when a tree is growing and getting bigger because its canopy is getting bigger. Loss could be if not only a tree is removed, but if it's completely butchered down as well, where that canopy is much smaller.
Okay, can you just tell us what that one drive, like that big patch where they're trees to the lower left?
Yes,
Or that right there? The bush. Go back to the left side, you put the one that securely up to us left.
yes.
He's up above Brian.
I was like, I'm unfortunately not as familiar with Fallcraft to get that.
I don't do residential, so let's be real.
And I'm wondering if that was ever verified and
Let's go.
It does look that way. It might be.
we're just in what a buffer between around 70 they're in the back no parsing.
Yeah. Just curious. Anybody else know where we are in Fallcraft?
The Luxembourg weekends.
Well, that's what I would do.
That's building of any enemies. Then it I'd say right, but
Like Montgomery.
it doesn't want to
Or I'll say in my second example, I on the other side to figure it out. Yeah. Awesome. And I will say this one thing that may help as well. So in looking at this change or gain, they then also pulled out in certain areas where you can see what that actually looks like on the imagery. So just to switch back, we see in these little orange areas, sorry, I can find my mouse. So we see a big loss here in kind of the middle on the right, as where it was trees previously on the left. When you look at the aerial imagery of that same area, you can see that a resident knocked down the trees to build a pool. You can also see trees in the top right that were there in the 2010 imagery and are no longer there in 2022, just to see some of the examples of where this kind of loss and gain look like. Another example, which this one's at Cardinal O'Hara, so I can tell you that with certainty. So again, imagery in 2010 versus 2022. When looking at the map, we see there is a significant loss in the upper portion of the campus. And when looking at the imagery, you can see that a forest stand was torn down to build additional buildings on that property. So in doing this analysis, they only pulled this for certain areas of the county to really ground truth their model to see, okay, the model showing a massive loss here. Are we seeing that in the imagery as well? And as you can see, it was accurate. And we can see and start to kind of theorize or can very blatantly point out what the cause of the loss or gain is. Looking back at county large scale in doing this level of analysis, they found that we had approximately 4,200 acres of gain. Primarily, we saw no change in canopy, but then we did see a loss of 7,000 acres of total tree canopy. And it's worth noting that when they did this analysis, change was both measured as absolute change, which was if you take the percentage from 2010, subtract it by 2022, that's the percentage. And then it also did relative change as well, which is when you're taking more so the percentage change dividing it by that, the original year as well. So 2 ways of looking at the same date. This was also provided on a municipality level, which is much broader and more kind of clear cut across the board, but also provided in those hexagons and on a census block level as well. And this is again the relative change as the other two were absolute.
Meetings. They did.
And it's worth noting that for, again, all 49 of our municipalities, this data was then broken down as well to show from all 4 of these maps, what is the actual percentage of existing tree canopy in percentage, acres, area change, and the relative change. So this can hopefully be a resource to our municipalities, our community groups, and local organizations to really pare down on the unique situations of each town as well. So in summary, this study broke down a lot of different data points, dissecting tree canopy in ways I didn't even know existed, but can hopefully serve as a resource for more informed planning and planting moving forward in Delaware County. When taking everything in summary, what we found throughout this study is that in Delaware County, our tree canopy decreased by approximately 2%. Not the worst, but not the best. We also found that there were both gains in having 4,200 acres of new tree canopy, while also seeing those losses in acreage as well. And for those that would love to see the numbers across the board, again, we have about 43% tree canopy coverage here in Delaware County, which is about 50,000 acres. And we're seeing that change of about 2,000 acres over these next years. So with that brief summary, I'm happy to take any questions, but if you would like to scan here, or it's also in the back, that'll bring you to the full report. So you can really start to pair in. And I will say, just for anybody here, it's worth noting the report does not have every single map. However, it does have those kind of 4 mapping types for each kind of data. So if your organization or EAC or tree commission or township wants a certain kind of data or wants to see it differently, please feel free to reach out to us, and we are more than happy to provide that to you in either shapefile or PDF.
Like, so they got lots and about 3,000 making the ticket. And was there any kind now it's 6 months, that we were the largest lots and sort of experience and stuff?
So I think it goes back to the these maps, as so seeing that those darker areas are where those kind of hot button points were. These towns saw the largest area, and here is a block group view of the same data. So you can probably pare down, and I know it's tough on this one, survey. Not necessarily, because it was averaged over the municipality. I think depending on how you're trying to use this data, to your question, I think looking at it from a census block group and really paring down into individual areas is the best way to really start to pull those identifiers of what was happening in Tinicum, that this whole waterfront area along streets. Exactly, airport. What was happening in this upper area that may have had a loss in trees that here. This is probably Newtown.
Pretty sure we also like that up the construction on its side.
It probably could be overlaid. That's not something that was done for this particular report, but it's definitely something that could be done.
That big value. So it's what people in, but it's like something
It could be
that's a house on the side.
the census block.
Like
It's
people.
it's just a different way to break down the actual area, but yes, they're divided by for people, not for.
Not money. I'm just curious of the building convents. Look back so you can find here and see how bad I've seen
West means being told like, is there is a many space with becoming assets? I think sometimes some townships have it in space
Requirement,
required, just like the part of this maybe
right?
so some
I think it would vary by town. I don't know if the county will have that data. I'm pointing to Gina in terms of the police department, though, was a map of where applications are clustered.
We know the prize and that's like what you've actually not done.
right. Yeah, that's just curious.
Do like it for
What?
our back. Overlay. So,
Becca, this is great. This is really great report. It's really interesting. The Centroid data of individual trees, is that available in GIS?
I believe so. Yes.
That's great. And so we could take, so like a forward moving project is you could take that data and then since it was already there, you could start identifying what kinds of trees and the health of the trees.
Yes. So that's definitely a way forward. And thank you for bringing that up. It's worth noting this study did not look at health, did not make indications of why things change, or look at tree species. That's something that would have to occur on a more localized level. And that's an opportunity, I'll say, for tree commissions or for municipalities to dive into this data to really identify what happens. And
Jumping point.
yes,
Let's start.
yes, absolutely. Chart.
Do you know the overall percentage coverage goes to is about
43%.
sorry, let me
Go back to our end findings. So existing tree coverage is 43%.
get a little
Total 2022, is there likely we go to 2023, 2024? Why was that chosen in that?
So it goes back to availability of data. So using LiDAR is not something that happens all the time. It's actually very expensive to do that kind of mapping. So they utilize data from 2010. There were certain data sets or areas of the county where it varied. So when LiDAR was done for the county, it wasn't necessarily done all at once. So some of the data layers they were pulling were from 2010, some were from 2015, some were from 2017, based on the area. But full snapshot, most complete snapshot was 2010 and 2022. And again, it was based on availability of data.
Sure.
The mismatch of that picture will seem like this shown. We're looking at it on the website. It doesn't have the same like that graph that
Which
show.
which one?
One that you should we count when you circle down looking at that and
So there are a couple of examples in the plan where they talk about land cover, but they don't do this analysis for everyone. And I will say I'm happy to put this presentation if that's helpful for this one, but it's worth noting that check and balance was not done everywhere. It was more the methodology that our consultants used to ground truth if they're modeled for everything else. So these were the two examples we provided with that. Us well.
yeah, not
Oh, this one.
we're from Red.
Okay.
So
Oh, some purple. Oh, purple, right? Like purple.
yes.
Yeah.
But yeah, so when you mentioned Newtown, we were looking around, if we're right next to them, so we were trying to look and see our picture. I thought of it, so it kind of gave us
Sure.
location where we are in the middle of
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
It seems even up on the stiff. He's got it.
Sure. And I believe so, and you may be able to quote me better. I believe in the study, what they primarily used for the summary were those hexagons that I showed in the very beginning as one of the ways they presented, but this data is available. So if you wanted that for your specific community, please just reach out to us at this time, and we'd be happy to send you the file for it. Looking into this was just released like now. So we're looking into the future. We will be looking to make that more readily available where you can parse out different municipalities, but we just haven't had the time with the study just coming out to say, okay, here's the map all in this one. Here's the map all in this one.
Yeah,
We were talking to somebody, something like that. See one video,
There's Lydia and there's Sue.
Sure.
Sure. Yeah, sure. Absolutely.
Yeah, I can start and obviously it's the long-term savvy. I don't know how long you personally have been in the company to sell it. Well, my question is this that people are crazy? I mean, it's ones that like, you know, watching what will they sell you, what will they find out, what will they get, or what you know, that. What happens to, you know, to what's, I mean, you don't know, going, yeah, because if you should make their imagination their tasty, you just go, you know what? If you're about things like this, and you what fucking is to get? And you're like, that's a great question. This about what? Was that what you don't say?
Yeah, well, I will say, so this project in particular was actually identified by a previous administration.
Yeah.
A previous administration was also the one to apply for the funding for this project.
Yeah.
I just had the blessing of sitting in on the meetings and say, hey, consultant, how's it going? And at the very end, pulling this together as well. So I will say, luckily, I wasn't pulling my hair out because I didn't have to do any of this data. I just got delivered the full package that you guys will see online at the end. And I'll say my colleague, Julie Delmuto, out of the GIS department in Delaware County, she was the project manager for the GIS side to make sure that the consultants had everything they needed on that side. I think personally, in seeing a study like this come out, I'm actually excited about it because I think that here in Delaware County, we have a lot of excitement and people who want to make a change and want to make a difference. And I think this is kind of study that can say, yes, we see you. Here's where you can channel your energy for the biggest impact. So I try to lean into that side of it personally to say, hey, now we have some direction on where to make the biggest impact rather than dwelling on, I can't go back and re-put up the trees that were torn down.
But so for either, I mean, there's still this some of that. Oh yeah, only these people are always this one, but not everybody's it's so not one of consult and not listening and watching them to involve. This opened up possibilities, not listening, we should be will only people within. Yeah, and you want to everybody can see the what's possible, what could happen, what might happen. And it must be like an overbinding souls done. We want this thing and we balance and what hell in the chaotic man, what in his thoughts in the map, made it happen. And then we can now see him was, you know, looking at Muslim going, wow, God means what about you could the sexual uprising of the people change the world are the ones which is not the basic and but I'm wondering what is there looking at these guys of future, this understanding future. What will you like listening? What are you working on? What can be in that's not being like
Sure. I mean, I can speak for myself. I'm sure other members of the community who are also leaders in certain areas do have different perspectives. For me, our directive is already set in the sustainability plan. We wanted to use this study as a baseline to see where we're at, to further that into the future for more tree canopy, which the percentage we had set our goal for is failing me right now. But the director of the Office of Sustainability has already been set by that plan, which was adopted by this board and by county council, supported by county council. So our directive's pretty clear. Again, this is, I think, the scientific background for county departments to say, okay, we know we want to increase tree canopy. Now we can say very clearly, this is where we could be putting our efforts most. So our directive's pretty clear and guided by this group, that plan, and county council. We know we want to increase tree canopy. We know we want to increase native plantings and the health of our tree canopy. So ours is pretty straightforward. This is just the stepping stone to know where to channel our energies and our resources because we can't fix everywhere all at once.
Yeah, the county can only do so much. It really does require individuals in their municipality bringing the information there and to say, oh, you know this, we lost 10% in our community, and then getting people to help. But find the resources. Like, for instance, I'm on the Watershed Group Darby Creek Valley Association. We're doing a tree planting in next week, next Saturday, working with a municipality, right? So it's organizations like that that can help partner and find grant resources, get commitment from the towns to do the plantings. And, you know, with the overall goal, I mean, ideally, it'd be nice if every town said, our goal is to not have no net loss of troops. That doesn't mean you can't build where there's appropriate building, but that means whatever you lose, you're replanting somewhere. And that would be like the ideal goal, and that would help them support this planning. I'm Lindsay. I'm on that, but she did in on now. February, and I think take this back to mission next in the end. Maybe like felon one. We're not thinking it's that. Like, I know we have ordinances, like we have the law, but we don't expect there's something telling lots here. Like, it's not, it's probably not. I regard, but
That's right. From the planning parties, every 10 years, things up in their county watch and planning. So for me, listen, agreed to set up the meeting for and to help with things like looking at the islands and tree lawns and also having conversations suitable our perspective of this. But also you are going to lose them somewhere along the need to rather conversations to move it forward too. That so you have to preserve trees. We also want to keep planting trees because you have to, you know, keep in mind that whole cycle. It's not just just protecting what's there, it's checking them, but also making sure that if something does happen or you see various, you know, ash water, all the things are keeping that in consideration. But with data is really to us and we're like uploads and really so we can create. Yeah, we can't control all of the which means in the county, but we can help try to set some goals and what we're doing to how we used to they're providing to them as well. So that's how it's for me. So I've seen a point. It's very exciting. There are a lot of possibilities in data. We want to get our subsidies, like that, and not just move that conversation forward.
I just at the beginning of the meeting talked about an EAC file, which to me, you know, the idea of sort of model ordinances and resolutions, I think can be really helpful in terms of getting the various EACs and shared tree commissions to work together in terms of strengthening the zoning around trees and canopy. And the other thing that I noticed was, you know, talked about the fact that most of the tree plots are less than 1 acre. I mean, you know, so the idea that where we have tracts of trees that are beyond an acre, and this actually provide, they're sort of a valuable resource to the county in terms of sustaining biodiversity. And, you know, that may be lost in some of the more granular data here, but that this does sound like that's an important thing to look at as well, that these are kind of heritage forests or whatever that we should be trying to preserve. And then I guess my third point of question really is, so if I want to get the data for specifically for Media Borough, for example, I can reach out to you and just get the more specific data, or is it already on the website? I'm not sure.
So we posted the study on the website.
Okay.
We have, again, just for receiving this package, we haven't made all of the data layers pretty and available yet.
Right.
You are more than welcome to request. We can provide the maps of either the breakdown by municipality. So then you can see, okay, we're in this range. This is the color, or you can request the track or block. So we're happy to provide any of those layers that we have currently. I will say it's probably our hope for the future to be able to maybe do municipal profiles. That could be intern projects for the future, as Jacqueline noted. We're just not there yet, as it, again, just came out.
Seems like a very resource that I something.
Yeah, we hope it's helpful.
Yeah, let's talk about what mean folks are about how we can say part of that place. Because it's one side of movement, it's a thing. Then if like casting funds like they and part of the thing and it has been playing in the
Yes. So as you can, I mean, looking, it's this real dark area. I wouldn't say I don't think it swings anything which way. If I had to make a statement, I would say, if anything, it stresses the importance of that resource in Delaware County, of showing that, hey, that is probably our largest forest patch, largest continually maintained and preserved forest patch, and just further emphasizes the importance of that resource. I wouldn't necessarily say it sways our data either way, because it is,
It's maintaining one.
yeah,
And
that's my personal take about it.
multiple things. That's why
Right.
it's not when it shouldn't be that.
Sure. I know like our up in that area as well, like Tyler Arboretum. I know they're an organization that is true stewards of their forest as well, and are looking at more of the specific reasons of why they're losing trees like ash. I know Julie works with an organization that is looking at their forest health specifically and trying to pare down more on the why certain things are happening.
Yeah, I mean, so I looked at this and said, it's still enough, we got a much. We have 46 acres of forest around people about tiny houses we had in Lodge. And well, we'll see probably the nasals. And planting. So when a tree falls, it's hard for that to grow because it's deer and this other story. It's just big. But and basic, it's not natural, so the deer don't eat it. And also the deer will eat the few saplings that are grown. So we kind of have a cycle that's like how man out there. So we're just consulting with different resources. And I'm hoping that as we figure out how this goes, we can be a resource for like, especially, I mean, really, you have like a neighbor, like the idea of the continuous products, right? We have this 1.6 over. We're not a neighbor. I don't know it's not a problem. Then my mother full small. And then community nursing has another full small, but it's really all kind of the same forest, but it's just has like these yeah. So I'm hoping that we would be able to engage the people around us also in conversation. And once we get this sort of sorted out, because we've been working with the digital conservation meeting by the only community working with the USDA program. There's me Chester watershed and we're trying to like just we're at that fix. I'm just trying to like figure out what are our possible resources on ranching to try to bring this forest back to health. So, but I never setting for my second and stuff.
Just to know, Redland Creek State Park is 2,600 acres. And so whatever that percentage is, probably was the entirety is free canopy. Then that gives you a sense of what fraction it is in comparison to the rest of the county.
When in the entire section of the 500 in self-employment, so but we not know the and that still is what's going on in all the residential areas. It's a counting of Ben when the more than this.
I mean, it definitely does, but what was the total acreage? 117,000? So
It's a piece.
yeah. And it just again impresses the importance of us keeping those bases for narrative. And like I saw you had your hand up.
On the reed forest needs it was so good. I tried giving up when it not when I'm in things like no, I mean, and then inside chain in deep parts, which in Wisconsin, it seemed there's this proposal on the way that it's called the Mstino trend. It's across thinking about starting south by Sexel, which is southeast, and it's also for a residential area. The only slightly down or straight going, it's ouching. They did like another good problem small body. They want to put a car lot. And the other one thousands. So I need to get sorry for Apple somewhere and then the developers give a minute but I need in plan A is some house every people inside the look. Shop it's not it's insurance family. Who else in the thinking talking about
That's they're all like
There was like, it all go forest there.
so that now so there was a distinction in the old days violence and something in new volunteer people. Yeah, right. So like, but it's very it's something I'm helping and somebody wants that plan. They saw it and sort of just do what they wanted. So a lot of us living in Northern Region, loud break bouncing, debating, and keep on being post only this stuff. When people talk about things, maybe the content thing by no, I mean, that has happened before, and it's probably not going to happen. So, it's a whole lot stronger than it's not.
And it's worth noting local, like land use decisions like that are at a municipal level. So knowing Upper Darby Township or going to your actual municipal meeting, that's largely where those decisions are being made.
And requirements can be brought on identity and links on but she expand on even concepts when some one chapter will play like garden. And so it's like we bring meetings, what not generally with that in the possibility. It's one so next game and team songs that we will do out some in that want some
Hopefully, I think whatever touches the heart of that municipality, it differs by municipality of what's going to pull on the heart and the head of each town. So,
folks, they need sonic national and links. So as it pertains to regulation, everyone that comes out we're also looking on innovation of it. It's an option. It can basically that's already be at least something given to activities within that to facilitate conversation like this. Which is like an environment and give it something. So that's something that really we can change as well. So we think that's really what is important. And I should have said as well that they're not going to be right and it's something about this we're one band together.
I think it is a state.
Well, we're going to bring it back. So thank you guys all for your interest in our tree canopy study. And again, please feel free to use the QR code on the back table. I will encourage you to hang tight for our last 10 minutes as we close out the meeting, as we did run over a little bit on time, but one really unique thing that we do in each of our meetings, which is really helpful, is our meeting roundtable. So at this time, if there are any members, and then we'll open it up to community very quickly. If there's anything anybody would like to share.
And I'd like to share some speaking of tree canopy, our Office of Conservation Expert and Department of Environment, Township of Ridley and Dartmouth Green Valley since they came to our Ridley Mounted Tree Planting next weekend, October 18th and 19th. There are morning and afternoon slots on Saturday and Sunday morning. There is a QR code and registration so you can find out our Facebook page. I have it here. For walking volunteers are also welcome. And that exact location is the Federal Memorial Park. So it's a block off the thing, and then we are also having another tree planting Saturday, November at the Morton Hills at the Historical Park in Prospect Park. Like, yeah. In my walks. And so
You go to the Organic Clinic website, you can bring the new primary channel network information hub. So it now maps of all of our trails, where they're at, so status ones that are open to our news, things that are in construction, things that are being designed currently, 47 miles trail on one that's built so far, and more to come. So you can find out there's story maps on each of the trails. There are links to township trails as well, and there's also a lot of trail resources and different maps. We have that's going to be done on crossings, on the proceedings. So all of that is linked on that legislative sector and acres and trails. It's a great place to go. Hopefully it's a lot more user friendly than our previous conditions at this launch.
I just wanted to make sure everyone knows about our hazardous household waste event coming up this Saturday. It's at the Upper Chichester Municipal Building, 8:32. So, yeah, no, anyone that wants to come out, you have to register on through our website. But if you're not registered, just come out. So we don't get more out.
Do you take battery?
Yes, we do take batteries, non-alkaline batteries, lithium batteries. Yes. And also another event next weekend, which would be October 18th. There's a Help See, it's a textile, bicycle, and sewing machine event. So it's going to be like the Grove Street rental, but I think so. So you can check out our website if you need any more information. Just that I read an article. Interesting, there was an article about tree planting versus water runoff. I think it was the I can't exactly remember it, but just something was that it's cost effective for municipality to plant trees in non-cost areas because it prevents flooding, repairing flooding is a whole lot more expensive than planting some trees by far. Like it was informational numbers. So that was something.
So if you be able to shout out,
It's something.
if you can find out.
I don't really. I can look. I mean, something, but it was very interesting. That and it was germane to listening meeting all the film. So
Google was hearing and you were coming. I got it.
something.
Putting what needed.
Two quick things. One is this just got scheduled, so they have the bonus concept. There's going to be a PA House environmental committee hearing on LNG export terminal on November 5th, and that's going to be in Chester City Hall. So there's a lot of conversation about that on the Delaware County waterfront. There's already been about it now. And then another just interesting thing is that Councilmember Gautier in Philadelphia just proposed a Stop Trash and Air Act to for Philadelphia to consider stop sending trash to incinerator on Chesapeake waterfront. So it's just something to pay attention to. Be like they're kind of follow Delaware County's community approach trying to there's just the hearing or the LNG. 10 a.m. on November 5th. It's the day after election day.
Yeah. Anything else from members?
Members of
There's someone who's probably about to study what's the state of the nation. It's like a stolen releasing these female and all in the virus. It's a five. It wasn't going to just keep money gold when you child and reach it's important because we have all these city need traffic isn't open that's out but also it's to keep your money and that's a lot of work. That's the damage. We have so many trees that have been planted already that are I have a list of trees that I'm supposed to go check. If anybody wants to come and help, you're more than welcome. And it's the level team. Not only you can do it anytime. It's that part where it's the delivery. I'm on the way. We get to do it just to make sure that you're doing all the right things. The tree does get them socks. So socks those people are but is there an ad for wedding? I wish that their name be the AC out, great things to come, you're starting that, but
piggyback on that, there are actually a lot of apps that you can adapt and leave your own project in that you may not need to do it at once. So for instance, iNaturalist, we adapted that as a way to create a project in there in order for people to go check on rain gardens.
So it's not like directly checking on it per se, but when you register the rain garden, so people know it's still there, they're registering the pollinators that are there. But that's what iNaturalist wants. But they can use it as an indirect way for then checking, oh, that still exists and it's functioning well. So you can think of it that way in terms of tools that might be available for trees in a similar fashion, maybe reporting birds, whatever, but you can sometimes create your own little projects in there, put in the locations, and then get out there. We'll look up iNaturalist first, but I'm sure there are plenty of others. I just know of that.
Anything else to numbers? Then I'm going to ask if we can just power through our last couple formal items, and then we'll close the meeting formally, but allow for any additional conversation. So the next thing we typically have is just reviewing action items from our last meeting, in which case our big action items were taking the zero waste plan to council, which we did, and it was acknowledged. So that's happened, as well as having this meeting today about tree camping. Next, we have new business. The one thing that we had flagged is the Conservation District Board is still looking for nominations. The Sustainability Commission is a nominating organization for that group, which means in order to get on Conservation District, you have to have another organization nominate you. They desperately need people in terms of a public member.
One public member, membership.
So if anybody's interested in serving on the Conservation District Board, please feel free to reach out to any of our commission members so we can start to formally nominate them to get it over to conservation. Any other new business? The only other thing I'll add is, as a follow-up to this conversation, to help add to what do we do with this information and where do we go, is during our next commission meeting, which is held November 11th, we'll be having Chris Cook from the Conservation District talking about all the different tree resources the Conservation District has to help you get the actual trees in the ground. So that's part 2 coming soon. And then just in the sake of time, we'll just move for adjournment. So yeah, we can do that. Any other action items folks want us to set? Any other groups, in addition to tree commissions, of sending this out to? Gotcha. Then we would just need a motion to formally adjourn, and then anyone is welcome to stay and we can have further chat. Okay, David, we have second. I'll second. Laura seconds. All those in favor state so by saying aye. Anybody opposed? All right, motion carried. So thank you all for coming to our meeting today. Again, this is a formal closure, but if everyone is encouraged to still stay, and I know you have something you wanted to share for the group. Okay. Yeah. So, big